All right. Well, we got a good-looking guy on today's call, Mr. Ken Lear. Ken, you're looking better with age. You're aging like a fine wine.
I don't know about that, but I appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, no, you get the hair thing going on, and always looking sharp with a suit. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So, Ken, I'm gonna punt it to you, but first, hey, listen, everybody on this call has a ton of respect for you. You're obviously very engaged. You're running a high-performing deal. You're CC'd on most people's weekly goal sheets and stuff like that. You're always commenting. I mean, so you are certainly in the saddle. Like you are not, part-time by any means in the business. You are all in, making your videos, doing everything you're doing to run your crew. So we really appreciate your example. And so we're curious, what's the messaging you're giving your owners? Obviously, you've got some studs on your team, but how are you looking at 2024? What's your messaging? What are your thoughts?
Well, thanks for having me. Nice to see a lot of you guys. I know we just had a call together for EDM for some of the guys in the call here. So listen, I know I sent this to you. So the three things that I'm thinking a lot about when it comes to my organization and really people I'm talking to. Number one is knowing where your strength comes from. And I know for me as a leader, I mean, first as a dad, but as a leader in the business and what I do, I think a lot about what helps me feel the most confident in what I'm doing. And I find my confidence when I spend quality time with my family. I'm not, looking at my phone, distracted when I'm, kind of hard in my world, but doing my best to beat my wife in Scrabble. And getting good quality time with the boys, whether it's playing soccer and doing that stuff. But it's not in replace of what's needed for my business. It's doing both. I also find my strength in getting in the field and really being actively involved with my guys. Whether it's I'm in the retail space now, so whether it's building the relationships with the store managers, being in the field with my sharp new guys and watching them getting trained or being involved in their training. I ran a sales training today for I don't know, like 8 new guys. And I'm in the process of promoting a guy next week to Greensboro, North Carolina. So I'm having a little bit of a change of guards in the office. So, I also find my strength in my routines and my self-care. Um, I think I had so much pain in my years of 2013 to 2017 that I really, really fine-tuned my self-care and my morning routine. And then when I do those things, I think I'm able to, speak with conviction and speak with confidence and just kind of help my team do what they need to do. And to be fair, I mean, I even had like Adrienne Petticourt said to me one time recently. She's like, "Can I remember the evolution? And I remember like the tonality and your tone, your kind of how you carried yourself when you ran meetings and with our org calls. I could see it kind of happening. And so that's the first thing I'm trying to do my best to be a good example on and share with my leaders and share with my owners. The second thing I think about a lot, and I appreciate you talking about. I mean, to be fair, I had my best year ever in the business last year, financially. I know, I think you know this, Jamie. They send out that report with the consultants and whatever, and with the overrides and everything else. I mean, it was just under $1 million with what I made last year, and it, you know, the where I came from in 2013 and 2014 when I ran a fucking shitty office and I just kind of stayed the course and I knew I'd get out of it at some point. It was really cool to see that report, but I think a lot about how yesterday's standards will not be tomorrow's expectations. I think it's very interesting how things have changed, but I'm doubling down. I'm like pushing even harder now than I ever have. I feel like the effort that it takes to drive on a bigger scale, it's a world that I'm keeps me up at night a little bit. I know to get to, we're just under 30 offices, and I'm just about to promote out my, fifth and sixth deal, and to get it to 60 and 70 offices, like there's a different world that I'm just uncomfortable with, and I haven't gotten there. So, I know I got to get better all around, but I think a lot about that and my coaching style, how I show up on calls, how I prepare for things. I think a lot about that. And then the third thing I would say that I'm sharing a lot with my owners and in my office is, I've noticed, and I remember Vera saying this to me one time, how she said, how we have amazing people, and it's not our job to be hard on them. And so I think one thing I transitioned because I was in such a tough place years ago and I built myself out of it. I started to realize that when I lead with love and I lead with support and I lead with care, that I know the right people will kind of build themselves out of it. They'll rebuild their situations. Like I don't need to be hard on people. I think in the past, because of how I grew up in the business and some of the consultants I worked with closely for a period of time, I got really aggressive with people, and I don't think I was strong enough inside to be confident, to be patient, and all those things. But I think in general, I'm really, really focusing on being people's biggest fan, as opposed to their biggest critic. And because I know life's hard enough. I know life's gonna knock people down, and I try to. And those, it's funny you mentioned that email thing. Listen, I appreciate that people even give a shit what I think. So I feel like it's my obligation to read it over and look at it and give a little bit of feedback and encourage people, and again, it's like, what would Gary do kind of thing, WWGD. And I kind of think about that a lot, because I look up to people, and Jamie, I said this to you, like I really respect how you are as a man and a family man and the example you set for your kids. And then secondly, I respect the business you built. And I want people like that around my family. I want people in my circle that are like that. And so, yeah, I know we all look at Gary and look at Vera a certain way. And man, if I could have people look at me that way at some point in my life, I think I'd be super fulfilled and making a difference. Right. So I don't know. And again, I know that people, what they're going through, I feel it sometimes when I read that stuff. So I hope I can inspire them and help them, kind of get better at what they're doing. But that's what I would say. That's what came to mind. I know you'd asked me to share a few things, but I knowing where my strength comes from, thinking about my standards and how they were in the past and how we're pushing them forward. And then, and also just do my best to lead with heart.
Well, Ken, I want to start off with a question for you, because it's funny, as you're telling me, 2013, 2014, I was trying to think in my mind. I know where I was when I talked to you. I was actually sitting right here talking to you. You had called me. You were going in the field. It was winter time. You're in Detroit. And I don't want to
I
say
think
you
I
were,
remember this call. I remember this call.
you remember the
Go
call.
ahead.
Okay, well, I remember it too. I
Yeah.
mean, it just blows my mind that, and you weren't like a new owner. You weren't a rookie owner. You were a seasoned owner that, I think you'd probably already been in the business 10 years, maybe a little
Yeah.
less, maybe 8 years. And you had already been a consultant, but you were running, I think you had 5 guys. You're going in the field residential. It was a cold day. I think I even Googled, I was on weather.com, and I'm like, oh man, I'm thinking poor Ken was the first thought in my mind, that here you are, like just you're running a break-even business at best. Your
Not
org's not
really.
so hot. You're reaching out for help, and then fast forward the clock, you make slightly under $1 million last year. That is unbelievable. So that's quite a turnaround. So can you kind of reflect back to like 2013, 2014? I mean, how did you get the wheels in motion? Obviously it's, it's yard by yard, inch by inch to get to where you
Sure.
are today. I mean, and you had your best year in 2023, but 2013, 2014, that turnaround, what was the catalyst that turned things around for you?
And yeah, the interesting thing is that that stat is just that override stuff, right? It's not including my office. We did 1.2 million in the office, which is pretty neat. Um, the Well, I mean, for anyone that was at my 20-year kind of recognition, I got a, when you marry a girl that has standards, she tends to keep you honest. And to be fair, like through this time, Sarah, as you guys know, I see Grant on here. Some of you guys have worked with my wife because she helps in the campaign team. Um, she's familiar with the business. She knows the business, right? And there was a period of time where she knew I needed to go in the field and set the pace and take interviews and build my crew and be a leader, not the owner, but be a leader from the field. And she literally made a calendar, like life-size calendar, put it on the mirror in the bathroom, put the dates in there, put pictures of our kids, and it was my accountability board. And I was supposed to come home and put my sales numbers and how many seconds I took and what the funnel looked like. And listen, I did it for a period of time and then I just didn't. And after that went down and we weren't seeing traction in the business, she says to me, and she was getting fed up. And she knows what the business can provide. She's at the conferences. She knows the possibilities, and she just simply stood in front of me one day and she said, "Hey, so are you going to start doing the things you need to do to build the business and get it to where it needs to go, or are you going to tell the kids about the life they could have had in 10 years? Because I'm not going to do that." And and to be fair, like I was still pretty messed up inside. I lost my parents to cancer in 2013, 2012, 2013. We just had our first son with Brady. I won't get in all the details of the trouble we had trying to have our second, but when you're pregnant multiple times and it doesn't work out, it hurts a lot. And thankfully we had our second over a period of time. And so I was like rough inside, but she put it on the line, and as we got to that point, I thought to myself, what else could I do and work in a business like this, have this type of opportunity, what type of people I wanted to be around for the rest of my life. And I knew I had it in me. I knew I wasn't, deep down in my heart, I knew I wasn't playing full out, and I could do some more. And that's what I just decided to do. I was like, all right, fuck it, let's get rocking. And interesting enough, and that was right about, to be fair, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, right about 2017 is when I started playing full out. 2018, I got on retail, and it has nothing to do with retail and the business, but I was just in a better place. I went down to Atlanta, spent 2 weeks with Adam, and I call it a retrain for 2 weeks. But I just got around my buddy who we've been in business a long time together, and I just saw him winning at a high level, and it wasn't that he was doing anything crazy different. He was showing me the plans for his $2.2 million home, and I remember leaving that experience. Again, I went in the field on retail and I looked at it. Obviously, knowing the business where I was at, I thought it was a pretty cool business to get into, and I remember walking away from that whole experience and knowing that I was just making the right moves. I was in a good place. And Adam was just like, listen, as long as you go on the field, I'll send you support. And I remember I see Brennan on today. Brennan will tell you that he sent me for that first like 3 to 4 months on retail. I don't know how many road trips he sent me, but I said, hey, listen, man, I don't have a lot of guys, but I will take your guys to the field. I'll take them out to dinner. I'll treat them well. They'll come back fired up more than ever about the business. I just need some support. I got my hands full, and I'll do it. I'll do a lot myself, but little by little, it kicked into gear, and we started gaining momentum. And then next thing you know, the EDM thing falls on my lap, and go in the field and set the pace on that for 6 months, and then just kind of gets things rolling. But I did a lot, and when I tell you, I did a lot of, and I still do. I mean, I when I talk about a lot, I mean like 10x my self care, 10x my knowledge, 10x getting around people that are thinking a different world, inside of our business, outside of our business. Like I really, really stopped getting around ones that are not going places, and I started really putting myself in circles that just people think completely differently, and that's helped me a ton, a ton.
That's amazing. Anything you stopped doing? I mean, you stopped hanging around the low performer, so to speak, but I mean, if you're adding, you're 10xing, so you're adding things to your plate, you must be refusing other things on your plate in the process.
Mm-hmm. So it's funny you say that, right? So I remember, and again, I was on, I don't know if you guys are on Clubhouse or not, but I'm on certain apps that people jump on and share wisdom on. But I was on a call one time. Grant Cardone was on, and I was listening to him and a few of these people speak. And I talked to Barb pretty often. And I remember Grant saying, if you're a business owner and you're not on YouTube and you're not on Instagram and promoting you as a brand, as the owner of a company, you're missing the boat. And pretty quickly after that, I jumped into the YouTube thing. I was like, I'm going to start this channel. I don't know. I'm super uncomfortable with it. And interesting enough, 3 years later, I literally had a guy I did an interview for yesterday. He said, "Hey, I've seen your YouTube channel. Dude, I love your stuff." And he's probably one of the sharpest interviews we had come in my company in 30 to 45 days. So, but it's interesting how getting around these people, getting around these circles, and them talking about the business like they're talking about in different industries, right? It's this interesting that leaning into it, getting uncomfortable with it, put myself out there, is we're starting to see the fruits of that labor, years later, kind of thing. But I will tell you, I did stop. If and again, I don't know if it's rude or whatever, but I'm super conscious of who I do spend time with. Like if somebody's looking for coaching, somebody's looking for support, I if people are still in the phase of their business where they say a lot and they don't do a lot. I've had people in my organization that were promoting owners and everything else that would talk, but not follow up and get in the field and do the things that we all know they need to do. They said they were going to do, they never did. I just started pulling away from people like that in the business in general, and especially in my organization.
That's great, Ken. All right, I don't want to hog all the questions. We've got around 9 minutes with Ken, so I'm going to open it up. Any questions here for the EDM champ?
Mm.
You mentioned your routine that you like really fine-tuned. What is it?
So every morning there's 3 to 4 things that I do. Actually, I believe Gareth and I did it when he was here a few weeks ago. I don't remember. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I know we went to a football game.
I was following you around. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember if we actually did it completely, but the routine is obviously minus the kids and getting them to school or whatever. Couple things. I drink an emergency every morning. I can't remember the last time I got sick. And the weather in Michigan is fucking crazy. It's 20 today. It was 60 yesterday, kind of thing, snowing. It's back and forth. People get sick a lot here. Knock on wood. I proactively drink emergency daily basis. I get in the gym, work out for at least 30 to 45 minutes, typically some type of cardio, some type of lift. I sit in the sauna for 5 to 10 minutes, the wet sauna, and I say a bunch of sweet nothings to myself. And legit, like some people may think it's crazy, but I say things like, I'm confident, I'm able, I'm the best owner in the business. I'm patient. I'm in Michael's world of I'm so happy and grateful, and I talk things into fruition. And then oftentimes I try to get completely silent and just think about my mind and meditate a little bit. There's a couple different practices in there. And then I get out and take a normal shower. And at the end of the shower, I do a bit of a warrior wash. And Gareth, to tell you, at the house, we actually have a cold plunge in the backyard right now. But I do the cold plunge essentially in the shower and turn it freezing cold. And I try to stand there for at least 30 seconds. And again, maybe I'm a little crazy, but it's just my reminder that I'm still alive and I'm still kicking. I still got goals. I still got things I got to do. And I fucking hate it. It is like, I hate having the cold shower, but I do it anyways to remind myself that I'm in control of my mind and my mind's not controlling me. And then, when I leave the gym pretty much daily, my guys will tell you I get a smoothie and a breakfast sandwich from Tropical Smoothie. Like, I literally walk in. I tell people if a bomb goes off at Lifetime Fitness at 8 to 8:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday, I mean, peace out, you guys. Hope all's well. I'm out of here. Same thing at 9 a.m. at the Tropical Smoothie. The girls there, they know me. I'm out 9 o'clock. It's just on a daily basis, and then I'm in the office and doing my thing. But I would say the morning conversation I have with myself and how I build my confidence. I call it the warrior wash. And getting the heart rate up and lifting and all that kind of stuff is the main things besides the energy drink or the emergency.
I have a question, Ken. Was there a certain skill set that you 10x'd or you had or didn't have before you went on this journey, like something like recruiting or maybe public speaking or sales training or something that you could just see like, hey, this is really improved, or you already have the skills, you just needed to refine them?
Hey, Daryl. I'll tell you, I don't think it was like a skill at all. It was just a mentality. I really, really have focused on my mind and how I look at things, and challenging my kind of beliefs and my self-beliefs, my limiting beliefs. And by getting around people again that kind of think it a different way and look at things a different way, has really helped me believe more in what's possible. But yeah, no, it's I mean, little things like, I have listened to people and how they speak and how they prepare and how they do speeches, all that kind of stuff for sure. But I think it all started with my mindset.
Can I ask you, if you had to give like 3 books to somebody, let's say at the ownership level, people who are on this call, what would your top 3 be?
Uh, 3 books. The Effective Executive, Peter Drucker. I would say it would be one. I really like The Obstacle's the Way from Holiday.
Yeah.
That taught me a lot about business and leaning into challenging times. And then for anyone that's a dad, I'm almost done with this one. It's the most recent one, Daily Dad by Ryan Holiday. Gives me a lot of perspective and lessons on how to approach things with my boys. And to be fair, it actually taught me a lot of how to approach things with the guys.
I have a follow-up question if you guys don't mind. So I already know the answer because I talk to you all the time, but can you talk a little bit about your commitment to the people that you're not financially incentivized? Why? Because you are constantly reaching out to my guys and my guys send you their goals. And, why do you feel like that is important? And why is it something that you make available to people that are not in your organization? They're not people that you see every day. They're just people that you want to help. Why is that so important in your principles and your values?
I'll tell you, it kind of leans into the things and the reason why I even have the YouTube channel. And I've told Jamie this a long time ago. I think I told you this. I just want to I'm so grateful that people didn't give up on me when I went through the hardest times of my life, and that they showed up for me, that I feel obligated to give back. Most of you don't know this, but when all this went down with my family, a couple months after, I was at NatCon, and Majeski pulls me aside and kind of gives me a little brotherly hug. And he says, "Hey, life's been pretty hard for you lately, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Listen, you always told me you wanted to go to the World Cup. The World Cup's in Brazil in 2014. We got about a year. Why don't you put together a contest, and we'll partner in it. We'll get you to go to the World Cup. I got your back." And I'll tell you, when my mom passed away, she worked at an engineering firm in Fort Lauderdale, where I grew up. It was about 10, not even 5 miles from the church that she had her services at. Nobody showed up from her company to her service. I had 10 plus people from our business show up for me. Gary, Majeski, Michael, Brandy, Brad, Stephanie Thompson, Vanessa Castaneda. I mean, so many people, Ken Gutnick, like so many people from across the country showed up just to give my family love and support. And I'll never forget that. And so when I went through shit, and then they stepped up and they helped me get through that time and set up a contest. Next thing you know, I go to the World Cup, and I have my organization starting to kind of rebuild a little bit. My brother's there with me. He kind of gives me the older brother hug, and he's like, "Man, I didn't really realize the people you work with, but mom and dad would be so proud of you for not giving up on yourself and keeping to building your business." I don't know. I just, Gareth, and you know this because we spend a lot of time together, but I don't know. I just know that you can do it if you really want to. And oftentimes, if people aren't performing at a high level, it's because of how they feel inside. And I know how I felt over the years inside, and it didn't go my way. And again, I just chose to stay the course and keep believing in myself and believing in what I wanted for my family and my future. And I kept moving forward. And so I'm not the story of I'm constantly in the $1 million club. I came out of the gates, like I don't know. I've got my story is I've gotten my ass kicked a lot, and I never fucking quit. So I just want to do my best to share that with people and give back. And at the end of the day, I know this YouTube channel is an example. I want my boys to see me in my prime. God forbid something happens to me, they have a place to go. Here are some people that I really respect and that I really look up to, and I know is in the right circle, and I want them to listen. I want them to hear. I want them to remember the good people and the people that I feel are great people they can learn from. So, but I just feel obligated, Gareth. You know that, and I know at the end of the day, if I add value to the world's going to take care of me. I know that for sure.
Thanks, boss.
Very, very touching, Ken. Very, a little more heartfelt than I was anticipating on this call, but that's who you are. You're a very genuine guy, and you're motivated, really a very character-driven fella, Ken, and we really appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. Thanks, Ken. We'll talk to you soon.
See you guys.
We'll
Have a good week. Yep. See you guys.